So I get asked a lot, how the fuck do we do all these big claims? Literally. I don't have much to do with them besides this and gathering them in and then turning them loose. So we've created a little bit of a system. Seats of the bus, man. And I think right now we have what? How many large losses do we have?
I mean, it's a few
400
hundred.
something?
Yes, 400 or so.
460 something?
Yeah,
460?
so
I bet you I'm holding 240 of them.
we kind of morphed into being that guy, and there's a reason for it because there's better money in it, obviously. And it's just it's a different level of adjusting. It's a different level of adjusters on the other side. It's not easier to get them done, but you're dealing with more professionals. You don't deal with the 27-year-old State Farm. I just got an Xactimate class stuff as much, thank God. You deal with people that have been around for a while. A lot of stuff is done after hours via text on what they need to get their job done properly. There is a certain amount of respect on both sides. We don't get a lot of that, oh, you're the typical PA blah, 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 crap. Sometimes we still do. But when I started out this company, my only agenda was to be the most respected PA firm in the country. From our network, from attorneys, from clients, but also from the carriers. Very much like Steve Badger, I don't care if Steve likes me, I want him to respect me, right? And usually when they respect you, they end up liking you because you're doing the right shit. That's how it works. And like all these guys talked about, if you're a good guy to these guys and you respect them and you understand they're doing the job and you're not pounding your fist on the table and saying dumb shit to them, shit's going to get done. I can tell you, we have a group text among my PAs and myself that if we ever went to court, we'd all be in prison. Because that's the stuff we do offline, behind the scenes, and we cuss and we kick and yell, and it's not in Claim Wizard, it's not in email, and it's not on the phone. It's just, we have little code names for certain claims, and, it is challenging. It is, I wouldn't say it's hard, but not overly hard. It's just busy. Am I right?
It's a lot of moving parts, information.
Yeah, man, and it allows us to bring some really cool experts in and do a lot of cool stuff. And there's a science and a method behind the madness, and it seems to be working. So I'm gonna let Jason and Andy kind of take and ball and show you guys how we do it, and then ask questions, and then go to lunch. We're out of here, man. So all yours, guys.
All right, I'm Jason Perry. I'm the large loss guy for VPA. All right, Andy. So I'm doing the public adjusting portion of these large loss claims. So you guys are seeing these drone videos, these HOAs, and all this other stuff, and you're thinking just like I used to think. And I'll hit a slide here in a minute. Is how in the hell are they doing that? How in God's name? Because in my mindset, when I was a public adjuster and I was doing it, solo, right? A lot of guys are, one man showing it, or have a few guys, maybe an estimate writer. In your mind, you're thinking, how the hell are you getting on 45 roofs? And then how are you writing all these estimates and then getting all this in time and this and that? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to specifically talk about how we do it, because we have a system that we have so that we can process these humongous claims and get them in there. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was no doubt, 2021. So real quick, a history, a general contractor. I was literally a general contractor for the carrier, a vendor, which is the best training you could ever have to be a public adjuster, by the way. So it was great. It was a great opportunity for me to kind of see how the carrier works. I had access to every single one of their libraries for all their SOPs. I had to write USAA, State Farm, MetLife, the Hartford, all of them. And each individual carrier, I had a rule book, a library of their internal SOPs, which have nothing to do with the policy and just a bunch of horse shit rules of how we don't want to pay too much, okay? So it was great. It was great training. So went from being the general contractor for the vendors, which it was kind of good. 2012, you used to get an assignment in, you had to call within 2 hours, and then you had to do an inspection within 48 hours. A lot of times you would just meet the adjuster out there. All right, Eric, it'd be a fire. What do you want? Give me 7 dumpsters. I'll write up the rest of this. I'll send you the ESX. We'll talk on the phone. Boom. Check comes with my name on it, with my company name, which was called Teddy Bears, by the way. It was a nickname from the military that stuck with me, so Teddy Bear Services. All right, I had a few other names, but that one stuck. But, and it was great. And then like everything else, and like we're seeing right now in the industry, it's getting harder and harder. So it went down to where the vendor, as the contractor, I'm literally writing the claims as an independent adjuster. I would work with the adjuster directly. So you had these relationships. And back in 2012, in the early days, there was adjusters that actually stayed. And you would have adjusters stay for years, senior adjusters, and you knew them. You were friends. You had beers with them. So you knew you were going to see Eric Simon at Nationwide. Yes, large loss guy. We're good. I'm going to hit my margins. I'm not going to have a hard time. Then as the years progressed, then, hey, you can't talk to the adjusters. We're going to have a third party come in, and they're going to audit. And what are they going to do? They're a bunch of people that know nothing more about claims than the SOPs, all right? And they're going to go through there, and they're going to start whacking everything according to the SOPs to see where they could cut price. And so that's how it started. Then it went from not even talking to a person to having a program. So then you write the claim, and then you have to send it through some ridiculous third party and AI saying, strike this, and then, so it just got impossible to work for the carrier. So finally getting to where, and Jack had a similar story where they did the same thing. I mean, they wanted to send you volume, and then they don't want to pay you, and then all of a sudden you're out of the, you can't pay your bills. So that's where I had no idea what a public adjuster was. I started seeing, somehow I started seeing where Jack Hanks and TJ Ware and all these crazies were online with all their drone videos. And I said, oh, this public adjuster thing. I mean, that sounds like something that I can do and give me the ability to go forward with helping policyholders. So I got into it, and that's essentially how I made the transition over to being a public adjuster. Okay? So just giving you history. So I'm the PA guy that's handling all the large losses, and Andy's the guy that's literally handling the 300 different mechanisms that it takes to get these things from the call to the carrier negotiating paid. All right? So there you go. Andy, did I cover it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and I'll get off on a tangent and all this other stuff. So I'll use about 2 of these slides. So I put this up there because this is my first instant message or direct message to Jack as a public adjuster, asking for a little bit of help, wanting to know some training, thinking I was a terrible freaking adjuster because I kept taking State Farm denials and they couldn't understand why the hell I wasn't kicking State Farm's ass. All right, and I just wanted to help. I just wanted to help my people in Mississippi, essentially. And so, of course, there's the message. You could read it. There was a training much like this training that was happening in Houston. I think it was called Dragon Slayer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I had taken care of a few claims. I had a few bucks in there. I had to get rid of a few bucks. I keep seeing these videos of Jack Hanks and these freaking drone videos of going over these neighborhoods. And like everybody else, I'm like, I want to kind of see behind the curtain. But I feel like I should know this guy, and I want to get into that circle. Because one thing I learned way too late in life is show me your friends and I'll show you your future. All right? So if you want to be a better PA, hell, I don't care, a better weightlifter, a better in church, this and that, you find yourself the best dude in church, the biggest guy in the gym, and the biggest guy that's kicking ass as a PA. And I'm a pretty direct guy, so I went straight to the source. All right? And in true Jack Hanks fashion, I literally, if you went to the next one, it's like, man, that was great, absolutely. I'm gonna call you in the morning. We'll talk without any claims that you have. I couldn't believe it. So essentially, I remember talking to my wife, and I was like, I'm gonna DM this dude. He probably gets 100 of these. He's gonna think I'm a freaking stalker, and I'm never gonna. It was instant, and long story short, from that, I went on to meeting Jack.
Well, there was a dick pic right afterwards. We won't talk about that.
Of course. I mean, you got to. And that's also where I met Benito and some of the other PAs, because I had no idea. I'm literally 90% of the country, they have no idea who the hell we are. And I feel like if they did, we would have even more exposure, more claims, because we're needed. And like Steve Badger was saying, they got the small niche. Nobody knows who the hell we are. So anyway, so I went right to the source. I went to the biggest freaking PA on social media that I thought, this is my kind of guy. I want to see how the hell they do that stuff. I want to see behind the curtain. And there you go. And that's how it started. I met Jack in Houston. I did everything in the world to try and impress him. If he said he was going to be in the lobby at 7, I was at the gym at 4 in the morning. I wanted them to see me coming in from the gym at 5:30, get my shit on, and the whole thing was a work. I was trying to get Jack's attention, and I do remember TJ Ware at the time. He was another one with Paradise Claims that seemed to be on social media, really taking care of business. But he was a Marine. He was a veteran. So Andy and I are both vets. So you know how sometimes you get that vet mindset. It's like, oh, this Jack guy, but then I got this other dude. He's a vet. Let's see. And they were both at the training. Thank God I went with Jack. So, but that's how we met, and that's how it all started. So I wanted to throw that in there because I kept that, and I still have that. And sometimes you can take a look at it.
It's a little gay.
All right. So large loss. So like we said before, primarily we're doing. And I'm not saying that we don't try and help everybody, but my job is large loss. So a lot of guys, you guys are doing residential claims here, right? I would say the majority of the guys are doing residential. And then maybe sometimes, just like I was when I was looking at social media, you're seeing these drone videos and you're wondering the same thing. It's like, how the hell are you guys doing that stuff, right? And so you have some residential, and then you get peppered in some good commercial, and it's always good to have some of that commercial money coming in there on top of chasing after these roofs and this and that. So most adjusters, large loss, much like I got to say, Stephen Badger, everything he was saying yesterday, I swear to God, it was going down the playbook on how I get some of these claims paid and negotiate. So never come out of the hole an asshole. Not adversarial at all. Guys, you guys know how to work people. I'm not saying, listen, but this is sales, all right? You know how to relate to an adjuster. We're all adjusters, right? So instead of saying I'm a PA and blah, 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 and coming out of the hole, there's a lot of guys that are out there saying, you should come out of the hole crazy, bitching at them, yelling about statutes, this and that, and then 15 seconds later, send it to an attorney, all right? There's a lot of guys that start, it doesn't work for us, all right? So I try and relate. How many times can you tell a carrier adjuster, man, so many damn claims, overworked, you know what I mean, really trying my best. Instantly, he's gonna relate to you, and instantly you have a conversation about just being an adjuster. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find that common ground. You're both adjusters, okay? You're allowed to disagree and not want to kill each other and not argue and all this other petty crap. So what you're trying to do is establish a relationship with the guy right off the bat and go from there. It makes a difference, all right? So large loss, the difference between large loss, I'm probably not going to use any of these slides. The difference between large loss and residential primarily is residential, you guys are arguing over, there's 16 linear feet of fascia. Well, I have 24 linear feet of fascia. Okay, that's a valid argument. Get your delta and all that. Large loss is numbers. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to a number that makes sense. That's a Jack Hanks. Half the stuff I say is from Jack Hanks. So get to a number that makes sense. What do you need to make this roof happen? A lot of times it takes, just like Badger said, I'm not a huge fan of Xactimate being the end all. I don't. A lot of times I have a hybrid estimate. We might submit an Xactimate that might get a contractor or might have a contractor. And I might be like, hey, listen, really work up a real accurate estimate on what the hell you got to do out here. And let's see where we're at. What do you need? Where do we need to be? Doing it right now on some big commercial stuff. And I love to set a market price. I don't feel like Xactimate is the best guess. It gets you, talking about it. If you have the ability to get a contractor, a sub, or something like that where you can set the market price, you can then segue over to the argument that the policy owes for a reasonable cost to make this happen. So it gives you an evidence. And then you can say, hey, listen, I'm being transparent. I'm trying to get an accurate amount that we have to pay to get these people back to pre-loss. I'm not pulling bullshit out of Xactimate. I'm not asking you to pay for something that I don't think is going to not happen on this roof. I'm not one of those guys. If the roofers think they're going to try and put a bunch of money in the pot, do a third of the work, and then pocket the rest so they hit their margins, I'm not a big fan. I'll literally tell the carrier adjuster, put the stuff in the estimate as paid when incurred. I don't care. If you don't think these dudes are going to do it, fine, and we won't pay them, okay? And then that's like an olive branch. Oh, this public adjuster is not the used car salesman throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks, all right? So we're all trying to be honest and transparent. So large loss, the difference is we're talking about liability. So what we're trying to do is when we have a big claim, we're trying to just do better than they are. We're trying to document better. We're bringing in our experts right off. Okay, so the difference is a lot of times when we get a claim, it's just known. Their engineer's coming out. They're going to get some weather. So then we're going to level the playing field. We got our boys, so we're bringing in our guys. Our meteorologist reports, our engineers, this and that, and then we're going to get to the brass tacks of what really happened, what the weather was, the data loss. And then where Andy comes in, Andy's essentially, he's running a CAT team. Essentially, we're running like a carrier, all right? So a lot of these claims, I'm desk adjusting. I'm not flying all over the country.
I think you're jumping a little more into it. Is operations, we're the evidence, plain and simple. Operations is evidence. We're going to be able to provide the evidence of the experts. We're providing our own detail, but the main thing is what we're doing is we're going off of the scope of work, plain and simple. If it takes a nailer to do a TPO roof, which I guarantee you, probably 9 out of 10 of you guys don't know what a nailer is. Anybody? Exactly. Our guys, we teach them what a nailer is. Nailer is what you got to do around the perimeter of a TPO roof. And sometimes you got to do certain screws to those nailers. We get down to the detail of what it is to put back for that roof.
So our desk adjusters, like Jason, they don't see the claim until the proof of loss is signed by the insured.
Yep.
They don't know about it. They don't see it. They don't worry about it because there's really nothing for them to do.
So when
in our hands, it's in operations hands as well as in our estimating's hands.
It's in operations hands quite a bit.
Yep.
So I'm essentially negotiating. So when I say I got 234 claims, I do. But what I'm saying is I have this huge team of guys, operations, that grabbed it from intake, got all the adjusters' estimates, all the paperwork, all the documentation, their engineers. I have this whole file built up. And then Andy's sending them boys all over the country, getting all the expert reports, writing the estimates and estimating per the expert reports, protocols, all that. And then eventually it makes its way over to me, to where I'll get a chance to review. I mean, I always have the authority to kick something back and say, hey, let's rework this or that. Let's do something different. But essentially, that's when I'll get it. And then I'll be the PA that's submitting it with all their documentation, and then let the negotiations begin.
Yep. And we also do provide keynotes. So we keep providing keynotes. So sometimes when we're looking at policy and we see things that are law and ordinance endorsements, or we're seeing that certain things need to be changed because of law and ordinance, or a cosmetic exclusion, and hey, this is how we can get around the cosmetic exclusion with a metallurgic engineer because there is punctures into the copper ridge that we have one right now. And we're getting everything prepared so that we're on the offense. We want to be on the offense at all times is what we want.
We want to control the narrative.
Yep.
I don't care we don't care what the carrier says.
Yep.
We really don't.
We're not looking at it going like this. Oh, we're going to give you the POL and go, well, you owe for this damage, that's it. No, we're going to give you an anchor. And you got to be able to provide your case. So we're already giving you, this is the reason why, this is why we have it this is the et cetera, et cetera.
So this essentially on large losses how we provide liability for the carrier. All right, really good documentation. We're throwing in our experts over there, and we sure as hell have processes. Obviously, we already talked about it. So I think Badger said this. He said no carrier is trying to hold back claims because they don't want the liability. They want this thing to move forward. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give them a burden of proof package, is what I like to call it. All right, with all of our information, and they're like, holy crap, we got experts, we got real documentation, we got a freaking problem here. And a lot of times when I submit this, it'll go straight to a senior adjuster. They're not going to get old, Joe Blow, who's been doing it for 16 minutes. They got a real claim on their hands, and then they start seeing where their reserve is, and like, oh shit, we potentially might actually have to pay. You know what I'm saying? So then that's when the party starts. All right. So just really good documentation. Listen, there's no magic wand, even for residential. I'm a GC, I'm a master water guy, PA, maybe some other stuff in there. I'm a pricing consultant for Xactimate because I wanted to know how they come up with this crap in Xactimate. So I got on with the pricing consulting with those guys to figure that out. I was able to change pricing for the central portion of the United States or Mississippi. Just kind of, I got a system. We could talk about that later. real quick on Xactimate, all the contractors in the world that are bitching about why Xactimate is so low, not a single one of them are calling Xactimate or doing the surveys to try and raise the prices. Do you know where Xactimate's getting all their freaking information on what pricing is? From the carrier, because they sure as hell are. So real quick off topic. So if you don't like Xactimate, change it. Get your boys together and do surveys. Listen, all the roofer guys and this,
Really,
they all know each other. We do.
anything
Hey, we're going to do a survey.
million or more.
What do you think about
That's where
roofing?
we're at.
We collectively get together when I was a GC, and we established the freaking price in our area by working together and doing the surveys and making Xactimate go up for square prices. Anyway, long story. But what I'm saying is just whining about it. There's a solution. You know what I'm saying? So essentially what we're doing is we're creating liability with very good documentation. We're just being a better adjuster than they are. And listen, a lot of times these adjusters are CAT adjusters. They got 56 claims. They're on assignment for 2 weeks. They're doing the best they can. Listen, they're going to throw something out there, and then they're going to go back home. And then if someone has a reinspection or a supplement, the regular adjuster for that area, he's going to get stuck with that. All right? So it's a hot potato. So we have the opportunity to Monday morning quarterback these claims and go in there and do really good documentation. Have our experts find the delta. Essentially, we're getting paid on correcting their shitty estimates that they didn't have time to do correctly. And that's where the magic wand is of public adjusting, is taking overworked adjusters that don't give a shit because they're working on a salary. They threw something out there, so they made the statute that a payment had to be made in a certain amount of time. We'll grab it as a supplement claim, and then we'll just be better adjusters. And we'll do better documentation. We'll bring in the experts, and we'll get paid. There you go.
I think for me, what I think the biggest weakness is for the industry right now is there's so many PAs that are still trying to have the mindset as like they're a contractor. They're trying to be a contractor instead of a PA, and they're fighting with these claim adjusters that are still in the mindsets of as being a contractor too. Instead of having a system in place, being able to educate yourself, be able to be on the offense. Because if you go tit for tat with a claims adjuster, you're not going to win until you get above them and have the education, get yourself a system, get yourself structure that you're able to be winning always.
Yeah, there's a part of the claim, stay in your lane, bro. You're a policy expert. You're not an electrician.
Yep.
So the reason why I say I do hybrid estimates sometimes is because I like doing that. I like splitting my liability up. Okay, I'm going to get a bid from the electrician. Oh, this dude's been in business 40 years. He's a licensed electrician. Sweet. He's the expert on our electrical for our claim. Not Xactimate, where it's a line item per square footage of interior, blah. Get a real freaking expert.
When they're doing PA work and they're doing a residential roof, who's selling like it's a roof system instead of just a roof, a facet? Are you guys all? Are you selling as a roof system? Are you? Sell yourself as a system. Is when you're talking to them. You sell yourself as a system, not as this individual. You're selling yourself as an individual, or excuse me, as a system that is expert at what you do, and you have everything in place with the expertise.
And then also there's a place where you stay in your lane. So the plumber, let the plumber be a plumber. Mm-hmm. Let the electrician be an electrician. Let the freaking roofer be a roofer, if he's a decent roofer. But what I like to do is I like to bring in these subs and use them as experts in our claim, because the carrier will use them as, they consider them experts too. The adjuster, he's hardly an adjuster, you know what I mean? So that's another thing. That's why I like to bring in bids. Did I say it right? Badger says bids, proposals, whatever. I do, because it sets a market price. It's transparent, it's accurate, it shows that you're doing your due diligence, and it makes them the expert. So if you could get a cause and origin letter from a plumber on a claim that someone's always going to have that says, oh, the adjuster said it was leaking for over 14 days, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's call the plumber. What did the plumber see? Plumber saw that there was an acute burst in a freaking pipe that happened. Get the water mitigation guys. Let the water guys be the experts. Man, we showed up on so-and-so night and the whole freaking house was flooded. Obviously, this is an acute bust. All right, it's going to be covered. It wasn't something leaking behind the cabinet and this or that. All right, stuff like that. Same process, higher stakes. Like I was saying, it's just bigger money, and because it's bigger money, a lot of times what we'll try and do is We're trying to get that ACV money coming in because we know we have some experts that we got to pay for. How many times, if you guys are doing residential, you get a lot of customers that don't want to pay $5,000 for an engineer report, right? So it has to make sense, okay? Sometimes what you can do is you can try and get that claim going, get that ACV money, and then have that talk. And then talk to the carrier and sell your claim. If you believe in your claim and you think, hey man, I'm going to be able to close this claim out, have an idea on what kind of money you're going to make here, sell it. Say, listen, for $5,000, I feel like we're going to have a return on that investment. All right, so sell the claim. Believe in the claim. If you don't believe in the claim, then don't. Don't have them blow $5,000 on something that you're going to look like a complete asshole when you can't get another penny on a claim. All right, but you're the expert on the claim. You're supposed to be there assisting them, advise them, okay? Did I talk about that? Maybe. The expensive missed scope, weak documentation, carrier pushes back. Yes, we could talk about some Q&A. Everybody's gonna have a question about a claim where the carrier is just saying no. And there's a lot of strategy there. I can't see some of the stuff Badger's saying. You can kind of ease it in a little bit sometimes. A lot of times you're going to have to public adjust claims to get it into the best position for your attorney or the best position for appraisal. Okay, so very simple. I mean, you know, nowadays you're not going to be adding causation or adding coverage in appraisal. So a lot of times you're going to get a claim and you're going to try and open up coverage here, 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 and then bam. I don't care if it's one shingle. Then you got the shed on the siding, blah, blah, blah. Just make sure you're covering your bases and put it in the best position to throw that thing into appraisal. And that's another thing you're going to have to sell with your client. Hey, did you know? Nobody knows they have the option for appraisal. No one's ever read a policy, all right? None of your clients, hardly ever. And then talk to them and be transparent. I'm a straight shooter. I'm like, listen, appraisal's binding. This thing is in about the best position I can get it for appraisal. Here you go. If it doesn't go well, this is like Vegas. You're going to roll the dice. All right, and but a lot of times, if it benefits the policyholder in appraisal, and you know, talk to them about it, lead them. All right. This goes back to the same thing. Just being a better adjuster than they were. They're hurting on time. They don't care. Do you think the State Farm guy cares? No. He's just trying to get through the day, and he's going to go through there. So, is he thinking about law and ordinance? No. Is he thinking about, is this shingle discontinued? No. Is he out there measuring the shingle to say, oh man, the size of this shingle, this is an English measurement or whatever, you know, all that good stuff? No. He's going to throw something out there. And then it's your job to come in there and clean it up and make your commission. All right? Everybody good? We good? Yeah. I'm not boring you to death. I mean, this is what we do to get these claims. This is how $240 million gets taken care of. All right?
And only 14 in litigation, by the way.
Not bad, right? Yeah, and like I said, be professionals. Find some common ground with these adjusters. We're all adjusters. It's so easy to become friends with these adjusters. And they've seen 20 terrible public adjusters. So a lot of times they're going to come in thinking you are an asshole. Okay? Change their mind. I changed their mind. Man, you were one of the coolest public adjusters. And that doesn't mean get walked all over. It just means be a professional. All right? And if you're going to claim something, prove it. It's your job. I'll tell an adjuster all the time, give me the homework that I need so that your manager will approve this freaking claim, because I know he's sure as hell ain't making the decision. So I get with him collectively. He has to get the same approval I do. So what do I need to give you so that you can, let's get this thing approved. And great, if you have an independent adjuster, yes, you want that guy. He's working on a schedule. He wants you to help him prove that he can get this claim approved so he can make his money too, all right? So, I mean, if you can get an independent, please take it all day long over staff. Plan, prepare, execute, evaluate, and we'll go to the next one.
Real quick too, is every Wednesday we have a meeting. Every one of our claims is touched within 14 days every time, or it pops up on an alert.
Yeah, and I wanted to know this too. Jack's the CEO. Jack's doing all this. He's doing all kind of the big guy stuff with the private equity, this and that. But that doesn't mean that he's always right. He thinks he's always right, probably 99% of the time. But what I'm saying is we work together. And the reason we have these meetings as well is because we'll throw something out there, and if it doesn't jive, essentially we have the ability to tell Jack no. I mean, Jack and I, do we argue? Yes, sometimes. And is he right? He'll bring up a claim that I wanted to drop that he made $3 million on. Okay, sometimes I'm wrong too. So, but so he's not, you know,
Well,
this
that's
is
the idea,
this is
though,
it
right?
and this and that. He's
It's-
open to his people, and I was brought here not to be a fan of Jack. Specifically, I was told, I don't want you to be a fan of Jack. All right, I want you. So I was brought in so that he would respect me enough to hand off claims so that he can move forward. All right, and not be worried about dumb shit. So if he's got relationships and he's going to give me a $3 or $4 or $8 million claim, he wants to feel like he can go, okay, I handed it off to Jason, and my job, and I know this, is to make sure that Jack feels comfortable giving me that and walking away so that he knows that I'm going to do the best I can to get these claims taken care of and his relationships. You know, he's not hearing, man, you're freaking Jason guy's lazy. This, hell no. Trust me, I'll outwork him. Well, I don't know if I got to outwork you, but we're pretty close on how crazy we are working. We have lots of experts, all right? And I know in residential, every fire, you might not automatically be getting a hygienist in there. Oh, I wish you could. I wish you could get a hygienist on these fires where they literally give you the protocol and you just write your estimate per the expert and hand it in. It's like putting a claim in the express lane. If you can do that, please do. It makes sense. You got a protocol. It substantiates your estimate. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to break the law and not follow. Say you got a fire in California. It's great. You know how many laws and OSHA and all of the bullshit with the chemicals and this and that. You could go down a list. You frame it as, hey, listen, here's the expert. Here's what you have to do to be in compliance with the law, with the EPA, with OSHA. Tell me you don't want to do that. Please put it on paper that you want us to break the law and not and do this mediation properly. There you go. So, yes.
And I know maybe it may depend on the region, but is there a mindset of how you guys decide which vendor you're going to use?
100%.
Yep.
So, dude, the way, not to jump in, but when a call comes in, in my head, and is translated down to the troops, we know we're going to treat a claim differently in South Carolina than we do in Texas, than we do in Ohio, because we have different, number one, law firms, different engineers, different appraisers in certain states, so we know we have a better shot. I'm more likely to take a iffier claim in Texas than I am in Georgia or South Carolina, right? Just because we know the rules, the laws, our relationships, better appraisal laws, all that stuff comes into play, especially on large loss, right? Because our job is to put the claim in the best position to win, even though Badger said we fucking win our claims. I don't care.
Fuck
right?
yeah, we're winning our claims.
So that's all, so when our calls come in, that all is in. That's all in the intake of how we're. I know how the claim's going to go in my head when we bring it in, right? And then, thank God, my ideas are translated down to the troops, so they know how to navigate that to here. Whole idea is get to the finish line. Either we get it done ourselves, we go to appraisal, we go to attorney, whatever. But we kind of know how that path's going to go, and there's a method to the madness. So yeah, every claim is looked at differently of where it is because it is different.
And we also have a pathway. We also don't leave it the chance on what kind of money we're going to make on a claim. We're not guessing, all right? And that's another thing you'll figure out about these PE companies and all this mess. Nobody's guessing, all right? They're going to want to come up with a freaking number. We do. So we know that we get a claim, read the policy, see everything, see where it's at. Andy's, he takes care of that mess too, because I don't. I negotiate claims. But they'll literally grade a claim.
We have A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, and depending on that grade, I can go and I can pay for engineers up front. And then we'll recoup the money once we get a payment, but I can front the money. Okay, but that's dependent on what kind of claim we got. Okay, so if it's an A, B, let's go, because we know we got a hell of a return on our investment. C, you might have to talk to a few people, have a little round table. You know, D, not happening. So, but if that's not to say a C or D, you can't talk with your client and say, hey, bro, you know what I mean? Let's put a little skin in the game, see what we can get out of it. You can do that as well, but we're not fronting the money. All right. So we know an average. We'll talk numbers here, but you know, internally, we know that our goal. I know this is going to sound crazy. We're trying to get 50, 60% of that number or better. All right. So if you're calling in $8 million, you better be getting $4 million bucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The numbers crunchers, which I don't do, they have a whole formula. That's how they did the PE stuff. That's how they figure out value of what the hell public adjusters do. Is they got these fancy formulas on, oh, you took in an $8 million claim. Okay, we should see the revenue of this much based off of all these 5,000 things. All right. But we kind of know. We have an idea once we grade a claim where we're going to be at on revenue in the future, because sometimes we've got to wait a year for it, right?
Yeah.
So who the hell wants to sit there without a clue for a year on if you're going to have some money in the bank off this claim? All right, there you go. All right. Engineer, hygienist, account, we got them all, guys. All right. Business interruption, I'm not good with numbers. Jack's not good with numbers. So the one thing is I'm pretty good at doing a PA. I am not very good with a lot of things. One of them is numbers. So what I'm saying is I know when to have people come in and be an expert. I know how to stay in my lane, all right? And I'm literally just trying to get paid on these claims, all right? So if it helps and we can, and I'm a team player and it's coming to my bank account, I'm down, all right? I'm not messing around. So hygienists, I told you how important they are to add value. Imagine having an expert hygienist report back in your entire estimate. Oh, I mean, they wrote the protocol. What are you gonna do? Get paid. Engineers, a lot of that, as the carriers are getting tougher and tougher and tougher, expect to have to bring in more experts, because they sure as hell are. All right, off the bat, they're going to circle the wagons. If you get a claim and they automatically send out an engineer, well, you kind of know where you're going. Yeah. All right, you better start having them talks with your client right off the bat and figuring out a way.
In 2025, between Gavnet and VPA, we spent $8 million in engineers.
Right.
Spent.
Yeah, and they better get a return on that. You know what I'm saying? So you do the math. Engineers, so see the use of experts definitely coming into play more than they used to. Now, have I turned claims myself and beat an engineer? Yes, but when it comes down to it, I don't have an engineer stamp. Okay, so if I can you gotta make one hell of a good argument and really catch them to get them. And getting a carrier engineer or an engineer in general to change his report, give me a break. Maybe I've never seen it. Maybe somebody has, but man, get those guys to admit that they were wrong in an engineer report. It's never going to happen. You better get your own guy to rebut it that has an engineer stamp that can say this dude's full of shit, and I got an engineer stamp to prove it, and a PhD. We got Dr. K. Shit. He's got 2 pages of PH whatevers. You know what I'm saying, to say it. So let him do it. Claims build long-term value. Of course, this is a lot of what Jack does as well. The reason why Jack wants somebody to hand off claims to is so that I don't screw up his relationships with his people.
So getting the first one is easy.
Yeah.
Getting the 10th one from the same client that's the difference in a lot of firms. Getting a large loss is easy. Getting several large losses after the first one, that's the talent.
Yes, and Steve Badger was saying yesterday, a lot of what he said resonated. They know who we are. When you start working into large loss claims into the millions, you start running into the same adjusters. There's not a lot of senior large loss adjusters in this country, just like there's not a lot of PAs technically when you figure it. So am I going to see Dan from Cincinnati? Yes. Am I going to see blah, blah, blah? So your reputation with those guys and your relationships with those guys are just as important as the relationships with your clients. And long-term trying to get stuff out of them. All right? Joe Roche. I know Joe Roche at Pennsylvania Lumberman's. His ass will send out SIU like you wouldn't believe. All right?
And you learned the hard way.
Yeah, no doubt. That's another slide there too. But so you know your adjusters, not saying enemies, but know your people that you're going to go up against. And in large loss, it's much easier because there's a small group.
And keep in mind, you have to market and sell the adjusters on the carrier, just like you're marketing and selling your own, your roofing contractors or your property managers. These guys are salesmen. Jason's a salesman at the end of the day. He's selling what we're giving, what we're sending to the carrier. He's got to sell that. And the more they like Jason, the easier it's going to be. The better our documentation is, the easier it's going to be. So it's always a sales job, man. I don't care.
A lot of the conversations I have with these adjusters, a lot of these deals happen on the phone. And it's after we talk about our kids, talk about how much bullshit it was because I went on vacation and had 10,000 freaking emails because you can't never get away from them. Right there, relate to the dude right there. It happens to all of us. We're in the same, you know what I'm saying? So, and then stuff gets done. You would be surprised at how many gray areas get handled for the good for us, just because you're not an asshole and you have a relationship with an adjuster.
And just because they're an asshole doesn't mean you have to be an asshole.
Now be a professional.
That's what the group text after hours is for. Seriously.
Yeah. But be a professional, and essentially when you have to get down to it, and if you have no way around it, just substantiate your positions with law and ordinance, code, everything you can possibly get. Those are the easiest things to get paid for in a claim. Know the code. Have a clue that within the municipality of St. Louis, Missouri, there's a 25% rule ordinance in that area. That if there's damage over 25%, that freaking they will require that roof to be. So you have to know this stuff. So they can't argue law. They can't argue ordinance. They can't argue EPA, OSHA, all that. Know it.
Pick
We
your
have an
battles.
OSHA consultant that I can call on big claims. I just did on the HOA. You don't want to pay my general conditions? No problem. I'll get an OSHA consultant to write up a whole freaking plan and have 10,000 OSHA. Guess what? I'm not going to do all that crap, but I'm sure as hell going to give them the report, and then they're going to like, holy shit. All right, maybe it was a good idea to just go ahead and pay for these general items on this freaking first one.
And pick we talk about this a lot too. Pick your battles. Pick your battles. You don't have to die on every sword. And I see a lot of good PAs die on a sword because they won't let go of something. Mm-hmm. It's a negotiation.
It's a negotiation.
Pick your battles, guys, because you're never going to be. They're never going to give you everything you want, hardly ever. But you got to craft your position where you're just. Once again, don't die on the sword over something. If you can give something away and get 6 things back, that's okay, right?
Of course, guys, and I'm terrible at this. And I would say my biggest weakness as a public adjuster coming into the VPA was like going into the Yankees. So it was like, one-man show going into the Yankees, and all of a sudden there's 150 claims, and you have 150 policies. Terrible. I was terrible at policies. Being at Velocity Public Adjusting in 1 year is like freaking being a public adjuster for 45 years. Because I'll read through more policies in freaking 2 months than some people will read through in a year. All right? So some crazy stuff in there. And I've got caught up. There's no doubt. I missed two sentences in a policy that said if you don't finish the work on your claim in 18 months, we're just not paying your recoverable depreciation. Anybody ever heard that one? If you don't finish the work, now we're going to say up front, hey, here's your RCV portion of the claim, this and that, everybody's feeling good. And then somewhere in the back it said, hey, you didn't finish it in 18 months, we're not paying it now. We renege, we're not. So, but so you got to read those policies. I know there's a lot of artificial intelligence. Who you telling? You know what I'm saying? So there's ways to try and do it as accurate as possible, but then you have to double check, cover your ass. All right. Prevent problems. Problems that come up all the time is you not knowing, having a clue as to, did you notify this dude within 180 days that you intend on making a claim for recoverable depreciation? You better know. Okay. Do you know that the limitation to file suit is 1 year as opposed to 2 years? So just know all your time limits.
And claimants will do that for you too, guys.
Yeah, and you're going to look real bad trying to tell your client, oops, I didn't read the policy good enough to know that we now can't sue them, and the carrier could care less now moving forward in negotiation because you can't sue us. So the liability went way down for them, and they don't care. There you go. All right. Here's the fundamentals. Maybe Andy could talk about it, but I mean, the fundamentals, I get the claim when it's time to freaking negotiate. There is a tremendous amount of work that happens before that. And we did talk about that, but we use Claim Wizard. Every conversation we have, Windows button and H is how you speak into your computer. And it's how you give an update to Claim Wizard in your updates instead of sitting there and typing half the day away. So the minute you get off the phone, blah, spoke to the adjuster, Victor, we're going to set up a meeting about the claim on blah, blah, blah. And then there's your update. So then when it does go to litigation or this and that, you literally have every single thing, okay, to do on a claim. So keep track of your stuff. What is all? Oh, I'm good. Next. Questions. There we go. So essentially the difference between large loss and the residential. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I love doing residential PA work because I feel like it's more important. And maybe Jack don't like that. But what I'm saying is the grandmas, the reason I became a PA is not because of super rich dudes with big fancy buildings that need another $1 million. I get it. I got to do what I got to do, and they need help too. But the residential part of this, where everything seems to be forgotten, and Badger even kind of says, well, I really don't have anything to do with that 80% of that. That is the problem. The residential is the problem, okay? The commercial stuff and the big stuff, it gets easier as it gets bigger. I can tell you that right now. The dudes in the trenches, and I was in the trenches, that's where PAs are needed. That's where you're most necessary, and you're doing the good work. And I'm not saying, so a lot of times you hear about these big numbers and all these experts and this and that, but you guys are out there helping residentials. You're helping, I would, in my mind, I'd be like, oh man, if this was my grandma, and she freaking had a hole in her roof, and she's keeping the grandkids, and this asshole adjuster, she can't even fix her house, I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? Now, Jack had to have a talk with me because I was taking everything. Like, if you reminded me of my grandma, shit, I'll take it. Denial, don't care. I'll work myself to death. And I got into a pretty good argument. I almost got in a little bit of trouble with a State Farm adjuster because I was so passionate about this dude. I wanted him, and I cornered him. I was like, admit to me, because it took me 3 months to get you to do this reinspection, and we added $70,000 with one walk around this house while this poor old lady's in this house, disabled. Tell me I was right. Tell me all you had to do was come out here and walk out there. And then it ended, so anyway, but I was new, and that was that Italian coming out in me. But it was unnecessary, and I was so pissed off that it took 3 months to get this lady right, and we got it right like this. We walked around the house, 70 grand. All right, roofers, start building this freaking roof. And this wall they want to pay for a wall that's, I mean, come on. Anyway, don't get me started, I'll get pissed off.
So the large loss stuff, guys, it's all fun and games and cute. However, a lot of this industry is not equipped to do them. And I've had a lot of guys ask us for help, and we offer to help, and they got it, and then they don't got it. So if your eyes are bigger than your stomach, don't, because
you work for the policyholder, so if you're gonna have to try and help these guys to the best of your abilities. If you can't do that, then ask for help.
please.
And that's kind of what I did in that first slide. I was like, oh man.
So yeah, that was a roof collapse at a hotel. The lady's name was Jenny. I remember it like this. It was a $3 or $4 million claim, ish, right?
And she got screwed right on the front.
You were a
end,
brand new
too.
PA, and there's no fucking way in hell that would have.
Oh, I walked into this hotel and I was like, oh, we got a problem. This is a hotel, a whole hotel that's wet, molding, and that a contractor came in and took some of her money and then just bolted. And that she may have had a PA on it.
So within 48 hours, I had my engineer, I think
Hygienist.
I had a hygienist, I think I had a demo crew, and I think I had Jacob Guidry out there because I need a big ass crane.
Yeah, for trees.
Didn't
and then we
Jacob
also
come?
had
Yeah.
Serve Pro of Chicago,
The National Serve
ready
Pro.
to get on freaking tractor trailers and come on down to Little Old Jackson.
So that's when you have horsepower, you can make a call and make that shit happen.
And we settled that claim. Oh,
We did.
She's rich.
And then the bitch got another $4 million from the city because
She says bitch because she literally cussed me out for a year.
yeah.
Because apparently a few million, she's not rich enough.
She had zero. We got a 3.8, and then the state condemned her property during all this.
So
they borrowed for another $4 million. She got $8 million bucks for
So
this.
they paid to rebuild the hotel, and then the city paid her again to tear it down and make a parking lot for the Coliseum.
And she's still
Talk
pissed.
about
By the
double,
way.
still pissed.
I'm like, Jen, you
But
got $8
that's
million.
the PA life, huh, guys. How many times have you increased
Yeah.
the claim 700% and you're a piece of shit? There you go.
Yep.
Just sometimes you're going to have that. Meh. All right. But questions, anything residential, commercial, this or that, hit it.
As a strategy, are you guys in the beginning putting the 180-day thing on the LOR?
It depends. That's up to the PA. Read the claim. So it's a lot of
Yeah.
times I'll get the claim after it's already 180 days old. So what I'm doing is confirming. You can only
putting
do
it-
so much. I signed the letter of rep. Now it's my claim. So now retroactively, if I'm going to see that, I'm going to immediately say, hey, I want you guys to know that we will be making a claim for recoverable depreciation. We will be doing these repairs.
Sometimes, however, we do get them already past that. And we got to tell because these roofers.
A lot of times we do.
They want to hold these things and milk them to the sky comes and it never works. And we
Yeah,
get
and
to
I'm
tell
not
the bad
saying that
news.
means that it's not a problem. I'm saying that know the policy right off the
Yeah.
bat and say, okay, well, this is going to be a first hurdle.
Mr. Insured, guess what? The $3 million, it ain't $3 million anymore. It's 2.3.
Yeah, hey, roofer guy. And listen, there's some things that just because the carrier didn't say specifically, oh, you told me you were going to do these repairs. Okay, but if you're still negotiating it and he's doing re-inspections, it's pretty known that it is going to be done. The repairs, you just don't have, you're still negotiating a claim. But I'd like to confirm that. Hey, here's the email with this date and my claim wizard saying, hey, listen, we have every intention in the world of doing a recoverable depreciation after we do these repairs.
And
Cover
keep
your
in
ass.
mind, the policy is the lowest common denominator. They can go above they can extend statutes of limitations. They can extend tolling dates. The policy is the baseline. If you don't ask, you ain't going to get.
And
right?
also, real quick, know that certain things in a policy have levels of importance that override. A lot of people don't know that in your declarations portion, that's the lowest amount of authority. Then you start getting into the back with the endorsements and things, that changes the policy. So don't just go through the declarations and think that you're covered. You're not. Most policies in the front is going to tell you how much all the coverage in the world that you could have. And then the other 100 pages in the back is everything you don't have because we changed the policy 15 times. And endorsements override declarations. All right?
One thing is when you're selling too, as a PA, don't over-promise and under-deliver. Do not do
Set
it.
expectations, please.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and your name is going to get out there in the industry. And, it's
And
not gonna
don't
be good.
negotiate your fucking fees.
Yes.
Do not negotiate your fees. That's not a client you want. If our client starts hedging on our fees, I'm
You're
not
gonna
their
get paid.
guy.
You're probably not going to get paid.
We are not. Yeah, they're not, their heart's not in it. They're looking for a deal instead of getting their claim done.
Make sure your referral source that you eventually, hopefully, are friends with and have a relationship, that they're also setting the expectations. Oh my God, I can't stand it. Don't have the roofer say, oh my God, you give this stuff to Benita, you're going to make $1 quadrillion. And then what are you left with? You're going to get a claim, you see the policy, oh, this is shit. It's very restrictive, and then you're going to look terrible. So maybe under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
How about that? That's what I like.
When we're grading, we're not grading when we say an A grade. We're not saying we're getting 100% of the estimate.
Yeah.
We're at 80% is what we look
We
at.
barely have any A's because I don't want to overshoot
Yeah.
that.
But we're always being conservative in our
B's and C's are our niche, right?
Transparency. Promise two things: transparency and hard work.
That's it.
Okay, those are two things that you can promise and actually deliver. All right. And
Because you'd be
if-
shocked when somebody gets $3 or $4 million and they wanted 6, they are still upset. 0.
Okay. Questions? Anybody? View?
way to know.
LA now.
Oh, maybe. Well, is there anything? But essentially, the large loss, it's the way we handle it is have a huge operations portion before the EPA the stuff. And when I say I got 240 claims, I do, but I'm literally negotiating 240 claims. I sure as hell ain't running out there writing Xactimate. I don't have Xactimate on my computer. I don't. I haven't written an estimate in 2 years. All right.
I don't even have
If I
Xactimate.
had to, like if Jack said tomorrow, oh shit, I'm gonna have to go back in there and take some refresher courses.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
So here's the thing too, guys, don't bite off more you can chew. I see it all the time. I've had people in this class that have asked us to help on $9-10 million fires, and they did it themselves and it went down the shitter. And I can tell you how it's going to go because we know the guys on the other side. We know their tricks. We get it. And it's a thing. It's a niche, and you got to be careful because they are there to make money for their carrier. I don't give a fuck. That's what they got to do.
Also, experts can help make up for that.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, if you're not confident that maybe this is a little big for my level, which I did, if you have a hygienist, then man, you could take some of that liability off of you, and then bam, you have that protocol, and you as the PA can, okay, now I have something to go off of on my estimate. So that takes it off of you as well.
And keep in mind, we're not engineers. We're not hygienists. We're not roofers. We are experts in policy interpretation. That's it, right? Hey, think of it as a general contractor. You need a framer, you need a plumber, you need a concrete guy, you need a roofer, you need a electrician, all that shit. Same thing in a claim. Sometimes you need all that stuff, right? So,
All right. Any?
yeah, Randall.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest claims came from contractor referrals. I'm sure a lot of people in here get contractor referrals, but I think due to maybe limiting beliefs or not having access to people like y'all, they might only focus on the residential contractors. In y'all experience, do you stick with the residential contractors hoping they bring in a big one, or do you do you pinpoint specific commercial contractors, and if so, what's the persona description of that company?
So it's actually both. So a lot of our, it's more of a gut feeling. Like we have a guy in Arizona that they gave us about 15 or 20 resis in Arizona, but we have an office in Arizona. Makes sense, right? I know everybody there. Makes sense. Then the big monsoon came in October, 2 commercials. So sometimes you got to invest in these smaller guys, see if they have potential. We have two $200 million residential firms we do their work on, but it's all 40, 50,000 claims. However, the Trevors and the Judes and the Christians of the world, that's how they're learning, right? And we're getting 30 or 40 a month in the same city, so we can go do, it's one big large loss at that point, right?
I think it makes a difference. If you're a one-man show or a two-man show, you can
Yeah.
make damn good money on a residential. I don't pass up money. So as Perry and Associates, by myself, with some estimate writers and this and that, I'm not passing it up. If it's a good claim, it's a good claim. Have the relationships with your local GCs. I was a member of my BNI group. Oh, dude, nobody knows what a PA is. So if you're a one-man show and you want to try and find more vendors, this and that, join the BNI, because you're going to be the only public adjuster they've ever heard of in their entire life, and they're going to be amazed at what the hell you do and that you exist. And you'll be able to stand in front of them all the time talking about public adjusting. And I'm telling you, I'm just saying.
And on the residential side, we have the 2 firms. I've been doing a little tour this whole year, meeting, go and see all the clients. Andy was with me. We were in Ohio going to one of our clients.
Dumbfounded.
And we're like,
Just amazing.
holy fuck, it's a $40 million building, bro.
Yeah.
They are killing it. And but the reason we do work with them, they have a system, they have a process, they're a business. It's easy to do work with them because it's a whole thing, right? Is there a question, Rebecca?
Becca?
Zane has a question. Do carriers ever cover your expert fees?
No. Well, I say no.
99% of the time, no.
99% of the time. So I'm gonna get on the soapbox real quick. Stop hearing on social media about the outlier and want to
Yes.
apply that to the 99% of claims. No.
Large loss claims are play to pay.
Yes.
Pay to play, excuse me.
Now, have I had USAA? Yes. Very limited. I don't know where in the hell where he in the policy he thought that he owed that, but he paid it, and he was a nice guy, and it was an awesome Texas claim that I settled quickly for him, and then the next one for his mama.
So our intake calls with our clients, our Zoom calls, Mr. Property Owner, you have a $3 million loss we feel here, ish. I'm going to have to bring in a forensic engineer, BI guy. It's probably going to cost you $150,000 for these experts. We'll front that money if we like the claim. However, when the check comes, we get that money paid back,
Yeah.
and they sign a form.
So we will front expert reports if we deem the claim is worthy of it, and we'll get a return on our investment just like the policyholder. But as a whole, no. I'll read 1,000 policies, and there won't be a single one in there that's going to say that they owe for the expert with regards to structure and dwelling. Now, are there some policies that'll say that they owe for business interruption so that you could have a CPA?
Yeah.
Yes, because nobody's a mathematician on that, and you might need some help. Yes, but no. As far as paying for your engineer for structure, no.
Yeah, it's a
Don't
different
count on
world,
it.
man.
Don't say it, and don't tell your client that.
Yeah, and there's actually vendors out there touting that they can get their fee covered by the carrier.
Geez, social media.
It's 1 in a million, man. It's 1 in a million.
And I'll tell you real quick, one of the great things about meeting Jack was I was able to sidestep a bunch of ridiculousness because of social media, and learn from his mistakes because he's made plenty.
Yeah.
But guys, wisdom is learning from mistakes. So I'm 50 years old. I made a shit ton of mistakes. Now I get to tell my kids, listen, I'm telling you. And if they don't listen, whatever. But I'm saying that's what it is. So I was able to sidestep a million pitfalls because I tried to circle myself with people with the experience and the knowledge to help me not screw up and get in the express lane.
Did you guys put together some kind of system to transition the contractors from always calling you about every little thing or every client they want to onboard? Like, is there?
Yeah, we have a 1-800 number that 2 people monitor. We have an intake form online. yeah, all that stuff.
So you just have the
So,
contractor direct in there.
Part of my transition to getting out of my thing is I'm not taking those calls anymore. I have people, and they become those account managers. So we have these, we call them white glove accounts. They have their own number to call into. And there's people that's their job is to, when that contractor, all the sales reps have the same number, right? And what we're doing also is we're keeping track of each, not just ABC contracting, because most of these guys have 8, 9, 10 reps in it. We're keeping track of these individual claims, how they're going, because if these 2 sales reps are killing us and these 8 guys are doing great, I'm going to call the manager and say I can't take these other 2 guys because we're not getting claims done because they're giving us bad claims. So we have all these things set up where it's all trackable now, right? And that's how you keep making more. You just keep doing more.
Essentially, dude, if you got a GC that's giving you dog crap claims, you can only do that for so long before you have a talk.
Yeah.
We are not a garbage dump for claims.
Yes.
Public adjusting is not a fucking garbage dump. And a lot of people think we are. And
We're
that's
not
where
estimate writers for contractors with contingency freaking contracts.
Every year,
So-
evaluate yourself, evaluate your contractors, and really evaluate your vendors. Is what you have to do, so that
And
you're
you
making
know
the
how it
best
is,
out
man.
of it.
When it gets lean on them roofers, it's lean in the wintertime. Notice that you get shittier claims because they're just a hope and a dream. They're salesmen. So, of course, they're wanting to get their commissions just as much as we do. But, man, they're stretching it. And they're thinking the magic wand effect's going to happen, and it ain't. So have some real talk.
So and we have a thing in our contract also. We have certain larger contractors that when the insured signs a form, they get access to Claim Wizard. So the contractor can go in Claim Wizard and look at everything. I don't fucking want to have my guys. My big line is: do you want your claims done or do you want updates? You got to fucking pick.
Yeah.
You can't have both. So we have updates at VPA.claims, and we have full access to Claim Wizard. I don't want my guys having to worry about updating contract. And the bigger clients, either Andy or Trevor or Jude, one of my guys, has a weekly call for a half an hour. And we hope to God that call translates down to everybody. Sometimes it doesn't because they're still roofing companies, right? So we try to avoid bogging down our staff with updates because, as you all know, you can spend 27 hours a day updating and ain't nothing getting done. So I have a thing on my phone. When I get a text at, I'm sure tonight about 8 o'clock, I'm doing with my wife, what's going on with Mrs. Smith? It automatically responds, I can read it to you. I totally get wanting to stay in the loop once a claim is active. All updates and progress reports go through our updates at VPA.claims team to make sure you get the most current, accurate information. Thank you. Thank you. This helps keep everything organized, ensure nothing gets slipped through the cracks. Appreciate you and all you do for our partnership.
There you go. There you go.
Email updates, and it goes right to the operations team. And then whoever, that's their job, we update. Dude, you know what they care about? How much fucking money am I getting in my
Money. When's the check coming? When's the check
Yep.
coming?
All right, because I was getting overwhelmed with updates, right? And you can't do it. And that's the, ironically, they care more about than the property owner does, right?
Anything
So-
else, guys? Any claims that you just kicking your butt or anything like that? Are we good? Otherwise, we're good.